Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, since October 7, 2023, illegitimate state of Israel and its occupation forces continued their brutalities unabated. At least 35,709 Palestinians, including more than 15,000 children, have been killed. More than 79,990 people injured, while more than 10,000 are still in rubble. In occupied West Bank, the situation is not different from Gaza. At least 512 people, including more than 127 children, have been killed, while more than 4,950 have been injured so far. Illegitimate state of Israel's systematic genocide, aggression, ethnic cleansing and war crimes put most of the population is under severe psychological stress, anxiety and trauma. Due to the widespread destruction, absence of the health facilities including medicine, water, food, shelter and the frequent displacements. These are the real factors behind the psychological stress among all the Palestinian citizens who are absolutely living in Gaza or particularly in the West Bank. In the same way, with extreme poverty, destroyed businesses and ruined economy, the question is that how Palestinians will sustain in near future, how it would be possible as they are now solely dependent upon the foreign aid or humanitarian assistance. But that is again not available to them because of the Israeli blockade. To discuss this very important segment, we have in our studios Saira Ijaz. She is the senior analyst. Most welcome to you, Saira. Thank you. And Shabbir Ahmad Wahgra, he is Incharge reporting and also the senior correspondent at PTV World and has a very close eye on the Palestinian situation as he is covering Foreign Office from the many years. Most welcome to you, Shabbir, as well. And online joining us from Turkey, Dr. Unal Eryılmaz. He is the expert in Middle Eastern economy. Most welcome to you, Dr. Unal.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, my first question to you, Dr. Unal, that since 2007, Gaza Strip continuously under blockade, and after the recent invasion of an illegitimate state of Israel, Palestinians swiftly driven the brink of economic suffocation. How do you see this situation?
Well, the ongoing blockade of the Gaza Strip since 2007, compounded by recent military actions, has indeed brought the Palestinian population to the brink of economic suffocation. The blockade has restricted the flow of goods, services, the people, severely impacting the region's economy and the daily lives of its residents. The essential infrastructure, including health, education, and sanitation systems, has been crippled, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The blockade and recent invasion have intensified the economic and social strain on the Palestinian people. With limited access to resources, high unemployment rates, and disrupted economic activities, the population faces a dreadful situation. The destruction caused by military operations further worsened the living conditions, making recovery and development nearly impossible under current circumstances.
Dr. Unal, after the Palestinian statehood recognition from some of the European countries just started, Israel threatened to withhold funding intended for the Palestinian Authority in West Bank in retaliation, but no mention of the Gaza right now. While the US warned Israel not to do such a drastic decision, how do you see that why Israel is threatening time and again regarding the funding to the Palestinian Authority?
Well, the absence of the direct measures of Gaza in this context is very notable, given that Gaza is already a terrible situation under the blockade. But withholding funds intended for the Palestinian Authority could have severe implications, potentially crippling the administrative and social services that Palestinians in the West Bank rely on. This move could exacerbate existing tensions and hinder efforts to achieve peace and stability. It's important to recognize that such actions, while politically motivated, have real and immediate human costs. United States' warning to Israel against making such a drastic decision underscores the potential consequences of escalating the situation. International pressure and diplomatic efforts are crucial to prevent further deterioration. It is essential to ensure that the humanitarian considerations are prioritized and that funding intended for the well-being of Palestinian people is not used as a tool for political leverage by Israel.
Definitely, you are absolutely right. Your point well taken. Saira, whether it's correct that Israel, through siege tactics, border closure, erecting walls, and by creating choke points to not only obstruct the aid and assistance to Palestinians, but also denying humanitarian movement, hampering life-saving operations, creating a full-blown famine in Gaza, and but also ensuring that there must have to be an economic blockade to the Palestinians. Do you think so?
I guess the history goes back and the things were already very in a bad shape before 7th October 2023. As Dr. Unal also mentioned, that blockade has been imposed since 2007. Now it's almost 17 years. I think that now things will take new shape, since, as you mentioned in your introduction as well, that some European states have started recognizing the state of Palestine, but the socio-economic consequences of this ongoing war has direct and drastic impact on, direct and indirect impact on all the sectors of the human, the fragile humanitarian state of Palestine. What needs to be taken care of is just there should be, and I think now I have that understanding that now world is recognizing that what the horrible inhuman and unlawful activities against Palestinians are carrying on, and they must be stopped. I think it will take many centuries, many long time to recover from this drastic impact of war for the Palestinians. But I think that now as per the recent report of the US Secretary of Treasury Secretary, she has also raised this point that Palestinians' economy is about to is on the brink of disaster. So they need to do something. We cannot stop, break the banking sector between Palestinians and Jerusalem, which is already under the control of Israel. I think things are really not in a good shape. They are already suffering a lot, but there is an understanding at global level now, even in the US, that it has to be stopped.
Definitely. Shabbir, whether this notion is right that blocking socio-economic assistance to the Palestinians facilitated Israel-made famine that spread all over in Gaza, making it easier for the Zionist occupation forces to advance genocidal aggression without any resistance.
Absolutely, because if we look at this in this way, Faisal, that the way this blockade has been going on from years, and the way it has been intensified from last more than 7 months after October 2023, it is an intentional effort from Israeli forces not only to cripple the economy of Gaza and all over Palestinian people, but also now what they have been doing with their health sector. As you know, the latest report from Al-Aqsa Hospital, where they have categorically stated that they have run out of fuel, and now hundreds of patients they are bound to, God forbidden, going to to the death trap because of hospitals stop functioning, all the like electricity and everything has gone from the hospital. So this shows that this is systematic genocide which Israel is committing, and that is planned genocide Israel is committing. That is like very ridiculous statements coming from United States about that war in Gaza is not a genocide, but everyone is accepting it now, because even US itself is under very much great pressure that whatever they are saying, that those statements look hollow now.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the analysts always stress upon that whatever is coming from West is larger than not a decision but a smoke screen, which is might be necessary at the political front internationally. So, Dr. Unal, according to the UNDP and International Monetary Fund and other reports, Israel pushed Palestinians to extreme poverty, reported at 58.4%. Unemployment reached now 90% in Gaza, 30% in the West Bank, 80% drop in economic activities, while overall economy shrunk by at least 27%. How you analyze this grave situation?
Well, the situation is very critical. These figures reflect a crippled economy and severe human suffering. The blockade and recurring conflicts have devastated the infrastructure, restricted trade, and stifled economic growth. High poverty and unemployment lead to increased dependence on aid, social instability, and psychological distress. To address this crisis, lifting the blockade and easing movement restrictions are crucial. Immediate international aid is needed, along with long-term investment in infrastructure, education, and healthcare is very crucial. Political solutions, including renewed peace negotiations and the two-state solution, are essential for stability. Supporting local authorities' initiatives and empowering communities through microfinance and vocational trainings can foster resilience and economic recovery. A coordinated effort is required to rebuild the economy and improve the lives of Palestinians, which pave the way for a stable and prosperous future. But that's all depend on a stability and peaceful environment.
Dr. Unal, since October 7, 2023, Israel ends the duties and the taxes revenue to Gaza, while withheld the payment of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. Now Palestinian Authority even struggling to pay the salaries and bear its running costs even. Budget deficit reached more than $7 billion US. That was vital under the 1994 Paris Accord. So how do you see this situation? Because now West Bank is not able to pay anything to its workers, really.
That's right. The financial crisis is severe, with the interruption of duties and taxes severely reducing the Palestinian Authority's income, crippling its ability to function effectively. A deficit of over $7 billion makes it nearly impossible for the Palestinian Authority to manage its obligations, including paying public sector salaries. With limited funds, the Palestinian Authority struggles to pay employees, affecting the delivery of essential services such as healthcare, education, and security. This financial strain destabilizes the economy, leading to further unemployment and poverty. The political and social implications are very important. Financial instability, first of all, drives social unrest and weakens the Palestinian Authority's governance, leading to potential instability in the region. The situation undermines the 1994 Paris Accord, which was designed to ensure economic cooperation and stability in the region. Addressing these issues requires urgent international financial support to bridge the budget deficit and ensure the Palestinian Authority can continue to operate. Efforts should be made to restore the flow of duties and taxes as stipulated in existing agreements. Implementing sustainable economic development programs to reduce dependency on external aid and build a resilient economy is crucial.
Your point well taken, Dr. Unal. Shabbir, when we are talking about the illegitimate state of Israel's threats to the United Nations Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, to shut down it, to deprive Palestinians from their basic needs, and Israel keep on stressing and continuously stressed in past as well in 7 months that that agency must have to be stopped, that must have to be shut its functions within Gaza. So means that Israel is actually pre-planned working on socio-economic blockade of the Palestinians, including the Palestinian refugees.
Yes, absolutely, and this has been noted everywhere in the world, because as you know, today UN Security Council is voting on Switzerland sponsor one of the resolutions which strongly condemn attacks by Israeli forces on humanitarian aid workers and United Nations staff who is working for the Gaza refugees, and that particular state like resolution has very strong words. They not only said this, they also condemn it, but also said that this is against the international law, and this would be put for voting in UNSC today. So this shows that this conscious of the world is rising day by day. As you in the initial your intro, you categorically stated that a few European countries, they have recognized state of Palestine. So on the one hand, if Israel is thinking with these steps, they are conquering different territory of Gaza, and even now they are going to Rafah and all other territories, but internationally things are changing for Palestinian as well. So it's not all win-win for Israel. Even this whole long war that has created so much pressure on international community that they are now in bulk, they are recognizing state of Palestine, so which is putting pressure on UNSC as well, because UNGA already adopted that resolution recently. So now it will go to UNSC, and over there they will also face pressure.
Definitely,
from the
you are
European
absolutely
bloc
right,
as well.
Shabbir, but unfortunately most of the critics are saying that why now, because after 100,000, more than 100,000 people have either died or injured, so why now? Why not earlier? Because that was the real clear intention by the Israel. So Saira, when we are talking about Israel's propaganda of terrorism, allegations at a face value basically, that has prompted at least 16 major donors, donor states, to suspend at least $450 million in critical funding to United Nations Refugee Agency on the Palestinians. US banned this UNRWA, that funding till 2025. This is really a cruel thing on the part of Washington. Only 10 states resumed that funding afterwards, but unfortunately the rest of 6, including United States, that has not been resumed.
Actually, the region of Middle East has been already subjected to conflict, to wars, and to bad economic instability. There was a Arab revolution in 2021, then comes the war of Iraq, Syria, Yemen. So there is the economy of the entire region was already very fragile. And now this Gaza and Palestine-Israel war, or this conflict has further aggravated it. Human development.
By the way, UNRWA has the funding till June, and next month is the June, and it means that there would be another humanitarian crisis within Gaza.
Yeah, I'm coming to this point that because the human development and the health indicators have almost stalled there when it comes to Palestine. I think that's the one reason that the other world, or everybody and every state has some consciousness, has some understanding of basic human rights. That's why I think they are many people, many European states, many non-Arab countries, they have started recognizing the state of Palestine, because time is running short, and I think that's the one main reason. Because after June they have to do something, because the health condition conditions are really very poor. The mass displacement within the Gaza and the West Bank is massive, and you know, there were you know, the ammunitions from the chemical and the biological weapons and all those is creating so much health problems, health hazards. So I think that world has to do something, and I think there would be some positive thing, which is, you know, when as far as Prime Minister Netanyahu is there, things will be difficult to, you know, assess. It's very difficult to assess the things, but I think people will understand.
But there would be a ray of hope. We must have to be hopeful for that. Shabbir, unfortunately, Palestinians are struggling to find adequate food, water, shelter, and the basic medicine. Acute famine is now widespread and worsening the situation. As Refugees International said, that Israel was demonstrably failing to comply with the International Court of Justice ruling. What do you think? Because there is the case which was lodged by the South Africa in ICJ. Now there is going to be a verdict today as well. So what are the hopes, and how do you see this situation right now, what the Refugee International is actually cautioning?
That is very right caution from them, because, you know, Israel has proved time and again against these different multilateral forums, world forums, that it is a rogue state. It does not care about any of international laws, and which is evident from different decisions taken by, different resolution passed by United Nations, and also ICJ ruling that categorically stated about a supply of humanitarian aid and a humanitarian situation. And the situation is worsening day by day, as you mentioned, as well as my colleague has also mentioned, that day by day situation is worsening over there, and food, water, everything, even medicines, there's no electricity supply to the hospitals. So you are taking like systematically killing Palestinians, not only by your bombs but also by the environment you have created, that like you have
every way or another, this is a systematic genocide which is going on right now.
For this genocide, you are not caring about any appeal from the world multilateral forums, you are not caring about any decision of International Court of Justice. So what else can be a rogue state than Israel at this moment the world is witnessing?
Obviously, you're right. When Saira, the per capita water availability is now nearly zero, and an entire water and sanitation system is near collapse. Even UNICEF and the coastal municipalities, solar powered desalination plant in Rafah, that is also in danger, that is going to serve at least 400 families, because now the people are actually once again displaced from Rafah, and at least 900,000 people already left Rafah. So it means that they don't have even water.
That's the issue. That's the we all are raising concerns about the survival of the Palestinians people, the economic consequences, and will have is now I would rather say is having direct impact on the lives of the people. And what about the, you know, the fragile young kids, what about children, what about pregnant women, what about the old people? Though young people do have that stamina, but you know, and the outburst of the diseases because of that, you know, living to the density of population in the refugee camps, lack of water, lack of food. I think it's a very dire condition. But again, I think the resilience of the Palestinian people, the resilience of the leadership of the Palestinian people is remarkable, and they are facing that, and that's the reason that the issue of Palestine is live, is very much out there, and people and world is talking about it. And we have to, other than, because water is a basic necessity of life.
No doubt, no doubt about it. Yes.
Other than, and it should be the priority. when it
must
comes
be,
to
either
provision
must be the
of
priority.
food and provision of healthcare system. If there is no water, there is no life. So it's the prime responsibility of the Israel as well to let go and to allow those water trucks and all those aid.
Even
which
the
carries
humanitarian
water.
assistance from the Rafah border especially, and stop this killing machine. Dr. Unal, what you say as around 65 businesses working in a technological field in Gaza earlier that were all destroyed by Israel, basically to paralyze the society so that it must be incapable of quickly recovering from the disaster fallout.
Yes, you are right. The purpose is to paralyze the society and to undermine its ability to recover quickly from this devastating fallout. The destruction of technology businesses not only eliminates jobs but also cripples an important sector that could drive economic growth and innovation. These businesses are essential for economic diversification and resilience. Their loss exacerbates unemployment and poverty, which further weakens the Gaza's economy. The impact on society is quite profound. By targeting the technological sector, the attacks aim to disrupt daily life, reducing access to services on technology, such as communication, internet, education, and healthcare. The destruction may lead to an immigration of skilled professionals seeking opportunities elsewhere, which further depletes Gaza of the human capital which needed for recovery and development. Lastly, the long-term consequences are similarly troubling. The loss of these businesses delays recovery efforts, making it harder for Gaza to rebuild its infrastructure and economy. With fewer local businesses and opportunities, Gaza becomes more dependent on external aid, which is not a sustainable solution for them.
So, Dr. Unal, Palestinians had lost hope that they might get connected to the world, as you have rightly mentioned about, to earn their livelihood, but Israelis systematically target the programmers, the IT experts and the computer engineers, destroyed whole of the IT companies' headquarters, their IT structure, internet connectivity and all means of communication. So what do you say on this situation? Because through internet they can earn something from outside and to just sustain their livelihoods.
The destruction of IT companies and the targeting of professionals in this field eliminate critical employment opportunities. Without internet connectivity and functional IT infrastructure, Palestinians are cut off from global markets and opportunities, which further exacerbates poverty and unemployment. Social consequences are similarly troubling. The loss of internet connectivity and communication facilities isolates families, disrupts education, and hampers access to vital information and services. The psychological toll of targeting a sector that offers hope and pathway to economic self-sufficiency creates misery and diminishes morale. The long-term effect hinders Gaza's ability to rebuild its economy and develop resilience against future shocks. Skilled professionals may be forced to leave Gaza in search of opportunities, leading to a loss of valuable human capital. And probably that's what they want.
Your point well taken, Dr. Unal. Saira, what's your thought on Israeli suspension of public health laboratory and the brutal restrictions on particularly the chlorine entry in to the Gaza Strip, as actually that impaired basically the water testing and disinfection process basically. So how do you see that? Because this is totally inhuman, you know, that only the chlorine even is not allowed to enter in Gaza.
And that's you called it ethnic cleansing. What else it is? There is, that's the thing that might is right. Right now we are seeing that because Israel is doing all this with the backing of US, and it is ethnic cleansing. It's nothing else. But again, I will reiterate my point again, that we should not lose hope. The resilience of Palestinian people, the resilience of Palestinian leadership is remarkable, and one day we will see that those things will be highlighted, and history will remember it, that in this advanced age of media, of social media, of AI, humans have been killed, have been cleansed in such a brutal way. But again, there must be an I mind you that there are with the lack of water, there are possibilities of outburst of so many other diseases and the mental traumas, and I think it's a very dire situation, and UNRWA and at least United Nations has to play its role, and the other nations should request formally, should write to the Israel and to the West, at least make them make the Palestinians
I think so. We have to cheer the resilience of the United Nations agencies as well, because especially UNRWA and all other agencies like UNICEF, yes, WHO and all others, that their agencies are actually, despite of all hurdles and hiccups, they are working very efficiently, and they lost many of their colleagues in Gaza, particularly at the
one thing I would like to add over here is that if they cannot allow the outside aid to be transferred or to be entered into the Gaza and into the West Bank, then Israel should develop some should install some water plants or some water.
Israel is going to. Because you are talking about extra the thing which is impossible, because Israel right now is on the path of systematic genocide right now in Gaza. So how they are, if they are not allowing to enter chlorine into the in Gaza Strip, they are not going to have
this should be advocated. I meant to say that this should be advocated, that there should be installation of some plant by the definitely outside world.
You are actually building a huge castle in here, so it is not going to be really going to be reality. Shabbir, when do you think that after the collapse of the health infrastructure, unfortunately, and the restrictions on the medical supplies, like mobile laboratories are not allowed, hemodialysis machines not allowed, infection prevention and control resources, whether it's kits or the medicine or anything else, related equipment, and another social protection impediment for innocent Palestinians, because it is unfortunate and they are suffering it because of that, because they don't have any sort of a medical facility or medicines available right now.
Yes, this is the case, and with every passing day, the medical care need in Gaza and over a Palestinian territory is increasing day by day. If we can see that not only Israel has killed more than around 36,000 people, but more than 75,000 are injured, and for those injured you are not allowing hospitals to work, and this is not a case of war or something the product of war. This is a planning. Israel has been doing this with the planning. If we see that, if you look at the pattern from 7th of October till now, that it is unprecedented the way Israel has attacked hospitals in Gaza, that systematic attacks, because in war even there is very rare to attack hospitals that occur and that like create an outcry in the outside world, and then they avoid it. But the systematically number of attacks on the hospitals in Gaza,
this is a case of the Geneva Convention, the humanitarian and human rights laws.
That showed that Israel is doing intentionally, number one. Number two, that word of ethnic cleansing that particularly came here, that because genocide, planned genocide, that these people should be like first injured or killed by our bombs, and then and we will not allow them to get treatment in their hospitals. We will not allow them.
And even the provision of water, food, and any sort of aid.
Because you know, even United Nations, even today I was reading that United Nations in its report said that there is a huge crisis coming of diarrhea and hepatitis A in the Rafah and Gaza Strip, overall Gaza Strip. So this shows that
most of the people are suffering because of the bloody diarrhea right now.
Exactly.
And then that again creates dehydration, and the water is not available.
There's
so
no
what
water.
It means,
there's no water. There's no medicines. You are creating, like you are, as I earlier said, that you are not killing people not only with your attacks, your physical and aerial attacks, but also like hundreds of thousands are in danger due to this particular blockade of humanitarian aid, along with these medical facilities and medical equipment, and also the medicines, which are basic requirement.
Whatever possible, Israel is actually pushing death to the Gaza Strip,
to the Palestinians.
Yes,
because
definitely.
They are pushing all the Palestinians to the trap of death in all possible ways.
Yes, definitely. Saira, what about the inhuman living conditions in Gaza? At least 485,000 people only. They are fighting with the psychological and mental disorders due to the acute traumatic situation, ongoing displacements and absence of safety, fear, and then anxiety about the future. So what would be the socio-economic future of such people who are fighting with the mental diseases right now?
And please do add the seeing your killing of your near and dear ones, of your children in front of your eyes.
Yeah, definitely. It's a trauma. It's acute trauma.
You should add that as well, that it is the biggest trauma of seeing someone dying in front of your eyes.
Even 80,000 injured people who don't have medicine, don't have food, water, they are also paralyzed people.
They are also paralyzed, and I think it is now I have realized that you can't even imagine unless you don't go through that situation.
Obviously.
It's unimaginable rather. Just imagine that your loved one, your husband, your wife, your kids, your old parents, your siblings, they have died in front of you. Something fell on them. One thing. Number two, if they survived, they are in such a bad condition that you are helpless to do anything. What's your mental?
This is unprecedented, which is going on. It never happened in the history of mankind, really.
I'll tell you that it has dire socio-economic consequences, and it will take many years to overcome this. Not only this in physically developed infrastructure, but this mental traumas, and it will have a very
definitely very uncertain situation, uncertain socio-economic future for those who are either paralyzed or mentally ill. So they have lots of issues. Shabbir, is it correct that Israeli brutal regime has systematically targeted children and youth, severely injured them, snatched health facilities, as you have rightly mentioned, shelter, then water and all other things, just to completely paralyze those youth and children, so they don't have any livelihood in future and even the future?
Exactly. This time, if we see the pattern from 7th of October onward, the pattern Netanyahu government have adopted, that is basically a long planning with the ethnic cleaning of whole Palestinian, that is so inhuman planning that they want to wipe out all the Palestinian and their next generation. That is evident from the killing of more than 15,000 children in this war, which is indeed unprecedented. If you look at the history of wars, you will not find this number even in the World War II, one of the massive world war. Like you will not find this number of children's killing by the Hitler and all those forces in the World War, where in a small territory of Gaza, that is a very small territory where Israel has conducted what a genocide of a whole next generation of Palestinians. And then they are along with those 15,000 which have been killed so far. After that, there are hundreds of thousands which are injured. They have been crippled. They are unable to do anything, and then you are ensuring with their blockade they cannot go for treatment. You are ensuring that those children who are injured, they will also ultimately go to the other health complications if they survive. May Allah help them. If they survive, they will not be able to contribute as a healthy person to the society. So they are not only destroying the infrastructure, they have destroyed already. They have not only killed their Palestinians, but also they have ensured that the next generation of Palestinians should not be able to live on this planet.
Obviously, you are absolutely right. Your point well taken. Dr. Unal, why the world is mum at the United Nations appeal for emergency funds of US $2.8 billion to meet the critical needs of the Palestinians in Gaza, particularly for at least 2 to 3 months from April to December 2024 duration?
I believe the political considerations play a significant role in this matter. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is deeply embedded in geopolitical complexities. Many countries may hesitate to contribute to the fund because of political alliances, diplomatic relations, or fear of repercussions affecting their foreign policies. Some nations might be reluctant to appear as taking sides in this highly sensitive and polarized issue. Secondly, media attention and public awareness are crucial. Other global events or crises often overshadow the plight of Palestinian people, leading to less media coverage and consequently less public pressure on governments and organizations to act. When a crisis is not in the forefront of public consciousness, it becomes more challenging to mobilize the necessary funds and support. Lastly, there is a lack of coordinated international response. The international community often struggles to act in a unified manner with different priorities and approaches among countries and organizations. This fragmentation leads to a slower and less effective response to urgent appeals. Addressing these factors requires a concerted effort to raise awareness, build political will, ensure transparency and accountability in aid distribution, and foster international cooperation to respond sufficiently to the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian people.
So, Dr. Unal, if we are very much hopeful that there must have to be the peace in Gaza, and whenever and whatever anyone is going to commit, any state is going to commit, that there would be reconstruction and they are going to fund something. So, there is another huge challenge that UN says that at least 23 million tons of debris in Gaza, which is at least 30 times of the size of Gaza. That includes 37.5 million tons of rubble and unexploded weapons over there. Clearance will take at least 14 years. So, but who will bear the cost of all this?
The challenge is monumental. Addressing this challenge requires careful consideration of several key factors, including the cost and responsibilities involved. The sheer volume of debris represents an enormous logistical and financial challenge. The presence of unexploded weaponry further complicates the situation, posing ongoing safety risks. The financial burden of debris clearance will be very substantial, likely amounting to billions of dollars. This includes costs of equipment, labor, safety measures, and the disposal of dangerous materials. Given the scale of the task, it is unlikely that any single entity can bear the entire cost. The international community, including organizations like the United Nations, will need to play a significant role in the funding and coordinating the debris clearance efforts. Contributions from various countries.
Thank you very much, Dr. Unal. Thank you very much for your precious time online. We have run short of time, unfortunately, but you have contributed. Thank you very much. So nice of you for your candid comments. Thank you very much, Saira, for being here in the studios. Thank you very much, Shabbir, for being with us. Viewers, as you have just listened to our panelists, Palestinian economy is actually crippling, that is in very critical shape, needs a two-state solution at an urgent basis, and there must have to be international funding to recover Palestinians from this whole crisis. The budget deficit of the Palestinian Authority right now is $7 billion US, which is impossible to bear for them to fulfill its budget deficit. So there must have to be Israel has to halt its atrocities in Gaza to make this whole region a peaceful region. Unfortunately, the IT sector, the communication linkages and systems are all disrupted and destroyed. The injured people are fighting for their self. The people with mental health, they are fighting with all those psychological diseases. They are not going to be more productive in future, unfortunately. But the thing is that peace is needed in whole of the region, and world must have to take care about the future of the Palestinians. Humanitarian agencies must have to be allowed into the Gaza Strip to have at least the humanitarian aid to the innocent people who are displaced, who are injured, who are now waiting for that aid. This is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.